Hi everyone, it's Adrian from Genie Magazine and I'm here with Lena Kasparian. Lena, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
That's a pleasure. Lena, how would you introduce yourself? You're a fashionista, stylist to the celebrities. You've had this, we're in Parramatta by the way, at Lena's store. You've had this for about a year and a half now?
Almost 2 years, yeah.
Almost 2 years, and there's another store opening in, is it Rose Bay?
I'm opening another store in Rose Bay in about a month's time.
So very, very exciting.
Yeah, it is.
How would you describe yourself? How do you introduce yourself?
First of all, I'm a mother of two, so I'm an independent businesswoman, I would say.
Yeah.
Fashion designer, entrepreneur.
So you must have lots of free time.
Yeah. Oh, no free time.
No free time whatsoever. I know that feeling all too well. How did you start in the whole fashion business? Because if I read correctly, you started in your parents' jewelry store.
Yes, that's true.
All the way back.
Yep.
So take us through the journey.
Okay. Well, when we were kids, my parents were actually going to invest in a fashion store.
Right.
And they were looking for a space to open a boutique, and they had everything ready. And my uncle, who is a jeweler, said to my dad, "Let's go into jewelry and start a partnership." So they left the fashion and went to jewelry and did that for almost probably more than 20 years.
Wow.
So we grew up in the jewelry trade, and I've did all the diamond courses and jewelry design and diamond grading and all that stuff, and worked in a family business. And we had 2 stores at the time. My uncle had a store as well. And then, life takes its course, and graduated from high school and decided, okay, what do I do now? And my parents decided to give up the jewelry trade. It wasn't what it used to be. So they sold the business. And then my mum decided to go back into the fashion. So back to square one.
Right.
And so she started the business in 2006. I was married at the time, living in London. So I came back and just started helping my parents out. And we've been doing fashion for a decade now. Right.
And if I read correctly, you're very well established in the fashion industry, but you don't have formal qualifications. Is that right? If someone's passionate, as you are obviously, about fashion, and you don't have the formal qualifications, how did you go about establishing yourself as such a successful businesswoman and such a successful style icon?
My family started a retail business, so they bought, brands that established already in the States and introduced them to Australia. So, jewelry design and being good with my hands, and my mum made her own wedding dress. I designed my own wedding dress, and so we're Armenian. We're very crafty with our hands, and
I've noticed this about Armenians in general. All of them are amazing. They will decide, I don't know if this is an Armenian trait, but they will decide they want to do something.
Yeah.
And they just go and do it.
We just go for it.
They don't look at why they can't do it. They just do it. They build a house, or I've known one that have started pizzerias. No training, or jewelers as well.
Yeah, majority of them in the fashion industry, or jewelry, mechanics. So I just decided. A lot of people were saying, you're so good at this, and you have such good style and taste, and you know how to put things together. And working in my parents' store, just clients were, kept asking, when are you going to open your own store? When are you going to have your own brand? And it was difficult at the time because I was divorced, 2 little kids. I didn't have the confidence to actually start my own business at the time.
Really?
So I had to just sort of work on that a bit. But it came to a point where I was like, you know what, I can do this. And my trip to New York City Fashion Week sort of confirmed it, because when I saw what I saw on the runway, I was like, I can do this.
Tell us a bit more about that journey, because I read about that journey. That was when you really decided that you can do it, whereas before I guess you weren't quite so sure.
I went to New York to visit a friend who's also an Armenian fashion designer in New York City. And I met quite a few people. I also met a lovely lady who used to work for Donna Karan. She helped her. She was like her right-hand man for 25 years for the business.
So these are big people in the industry,
I met a lot of
obviously.
big people in the industry, and they sort of inspired me to follow my dream, and they just sort of gave me the encouragement. And said, you can do this. You've got what it takes. You're smart, and you have the qualifications for business, and you have enough experience to do it. you don't really need to have the technical skills to be a fashion designer. You don't have to go to school to become what you want to be. It comes from here.
It comes from the heart, comes from having a passion about it.
You know, artists don't go to school to learn how to paint.
Well, a lot of the best people in the world don't have formal qualifications. Yeah. I know there's a lot of people out there who would love to be in the fashion industry. Yeah. Probably, you know, doing what you do, having your own store would be their dream occupation. How would a young person or someone who wants to start off in the industry start?
Well, I'm lucky enough to have the family that was already in the industry, so I already had my foot in the door.
You had some knowledge, you had some connections already.
And it is a very difficult, very competitive industry. And if you don't have the passion or the natural ability or the skill, it is quite hard. And I do find a lot of young, you know, students who have the passion to become, you know, a fashion designer, they go to school to learn the skills. They are eager to learn, which is great. Yeah. But if it doesn't come from within you, it's really hard. It takes a lot of money and a lot of guts to do it.
Sure.
It's an expensive industry.
Very
expensive.
On that point, I mean, this interview will probably have the nicest and most expensive backdrop of any interview I've done. What does it take to go from having that concept in your head, how it's going to look on a runway on the model, to actually getting it onto a shelf? What's the process that you go through? Well,
I visualize a dress. It comes to life in my mind. Yeah. I could sit there and have a glass of, you know, wine or a coffee, and I'll see something outside that inspires me, or I'll just visualize something. I'm a daydreamer. I dream a lot. And, you know, even in my dream, I'll picture a dress on myself or on someone else or on the runway. And I'll get up and I'll quickly take notes, and just so I don't forget. And I just start sketching, and I just sort of bring it to life on paper.
How do you take those sketches? I mean, is there a particular way you need to sketch?
No, just sort of... I mean, practice makes perfect, right? So it does take time to sort of develop a skill and a natural... Sure. Everyone has their own way. Everyone has their own natural ability or technique to do something. So... You know, I do a lot of sketches. Sometimes I'll sit there and do, you know, 100 to 200 sketches in a day, and just...
In a day?
So just, I'll just do pencil sketches. It's just an outline of something, and I just write notes, and... Right. And then I'll just take the ones that I really like and put some colour to it and complete it.
And then what's the next step from there?
Next step is the text sketch, and then you do the computer sketch, which is done on the computer. Right. I don't do that. The girls do it. Yeah. And... I do them by hand. I like to do things by hand. I'm not so great with a computer. And then I just send it off to my factory, and they, you know, we work on the fabric, and I pick everything and we get it done. We do the sample. And if the sample's not right, we correct it.
What does it feel like when you get the finished product back and you're happy with it?
It's great. Hi, look around you. Yeah. It's great. It's like going to Disneyland. I don't know, it gives me this great pride and joy that I've designed these from nothing, and people come in here and try them on and buy them.
So all these dresses here started off as just an idea in your head?
A visual dream or something. One dream I had, I was at the Oscars with Tom Cruise. Don't ask me why or how. But apparently...
Okay, this is a dream.
This is a dream.
Okay, all right.
This is a dream. I had a dream that I'm attending the Oscars and I'm his date.
You'd be significantly taller than him.
Totally. Yeah. Very tall. I was probably wearing flats. But I visualised myself in his gorgeous gown. So I woke up and I was like, wow, I wasn't so amazed about the date, but I was more amazed about the dress.
So the fact that you were near Tom Cruise was...
No, I was like, why was I dating him? But wow, that dress was amazing. And I got up and I drew it.
Do you remember the very, very first dress you sketched or you designed, or the very first one that you made?
No, well, one of the very first dresses I made is actually hanging right behind us. This one here.
Wow.
That's my very first design, one of my first ones, halter neck, and I designed my wedding gown. So that was one of my first, and my mum's wedding, her dress, and I designed my sister's dress. I designed my sister's dress on a napkin at the Central Coast, at Terrigal. We went to a Thai restaurant with my parents, and it was her wedding time.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what you're going to wear. So I grabbed a pen, and there was just a napkin, and I drew it. It was a red napkin, and I drew it, and she took it to a bridal designer, and he made that dress.
Do you get people often just sort of passing you a piece of paper and say, I need something, make me something on the spot?
Yeah,
sort of
I charge them $50 a consultation.
Wow, that's a bargain, $50 an hour.
I don't. It's not necessary to overcharge people. I love when people come in here and I give them advice and style tips and it's free.
Yeah. Well, having said that, you refer to this place as the Panther's Den. Is that correct?
Panther's Den.
So what is it about the panther? Why call this the Panther's Den?
Okay, well, the panther's my totem. It's a very mystical connection that I have with this animal, and it's been 5 years now, and it comes from a very dark time in my life that happened a few years ago, and it just came to me from nowhere, and it just I have this, I've got the logo, and I just have this wonderful connection with this amazing seductive creature, and I thought that'd be a great
and you
logo.
have them on the actual label itself?
Yeah, my labels.
So that's been your totem for 5 years?
I looked it up. I looked up the totem. I wanted to, I was curious to know why I was so obsessed with this animal. Not obsessed, but just so mesmerized by this animal. And I looked it up, and there was a connection there.
Have you ever seen one face to face?
No, I'm dying to see one.
I imagine. Cats are majestic creatures. Seeing a big cat
I had a strange dream last night with cubs.
Another strange dream.
Yeah, but these dreams, I don't know. But yeah, they come to me.
And you mentioned briefly that dark period in your life, and you went through a very, very difficult period, domestic violence, and you were forced to do some things in self-defense, and it was a court case.
Yeah.
And I imagine it was a very, very tough time.
It was.
Something that you'd never wish on anybody else.
No.
What would you say that you learnt about yourself from that period in your life?
Wow.
Or what did you take from it? I mean, it's not a positive experience, obviously. But
no,
did you take
it was
any
very
positives
traumatic.
from it?
Very traumatic. Look, we all experience things in life that we can't explain. Accidents happen, and people go through different difficulties, some worse than others.
Yeah.
I think it's the way you handle it. I think God does test us in times, and if you believe in God. But
that was one
dramatic. Yeah, it was. My partner was an alcoholic, and I still try to work out what happened, but unfortunately he passed away, and I was, in a very difficult situation, and it was a dark time for me, but it got to a point where, I just sort of snapped out of it after a couple of months, and I've got 2 kids to look after, and I thought I can't give up on myself because I'm giving up on my kids. So I just sort of composed myself and focused on what was important. And you just sort of have to let things be.
Yeah.
And it just sort of, you just sort of get sidetracked, but you just end up back on the track that you're supposed to be on. You have to believe in yourself. I didn't give up on myself.
It must have been a very trying time, though. You said a couple of months. I mean, to turn it around. Well, I guess it's not a complete turnaround, but sort of pick yourself off the ground in 2 months.
It was a very, very difficult time. I mean, I was really depressed and very sad. And, one of my dear friends used to come and feed me because I was just so numb.
Yeah.
And, I had good support system around me, my parents and my friends who didn't give up on me, and it was someone that I love passed away, and I was blamed for it.
Yeah.
And I didn't do anything.
And you were taken through court for it as well.
Yeah. 18 months of hell.
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah.
If someone is in a similar situation, hopefully not as traumatic as yours, but I have interviewed some very intelligent women that are in situations where they know their partner is not really quite right. But I don't know if you found this to be the case. They're very intelligent, but in those situations, they have this tendency to blame it on themselves or to take responsibility for their partner's problems, whether it be alcoholism or drug abuse.
That's called denial.
if there's someone in that sort of situation and they're sort of getting that feeling that something's not quite right, what advice would you give to someone like that?
If that person in front of you doesn't want to be helped, then you can't change them. As much as you love someone and you want to help them, it's really up to them. If they don't want to help themselves, if they've given up on themselves, then
there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do.
No matter how much you love them.
No, it's very difficult because it's, you start blaming yourself and you have all these regrets. Yeah. And if only I did this, and if only I did that, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and they ended up the way they wanted to end up.
And it was their choice as well.
Yeah, it's their choice.
How much of a relief outlet is fashion for you? Or what does... I've interviewed a lot of, for example, beauty pageant queens and models, and they all say for them, for example, getting up on stage, it's not just an occasion to wear a pretty dress and feel good. For them, it's always about spreading a message, or it's something about developing character or confidence. Yeah. What does... Empowering. Yeah. Well, on that note, what does fashion mean to you? Because I assume, similarly, it's not for you just putting on something nice. Yeah. It must run much, much deeper than that.
It's something that I've enjoyed ever since I was a child. It's, I used to put on my parents' clothes and my dad's suits and my mum's dresses, and I just used to fantasize going to parties and dress up. And so I've always had this in me, style and, fashion and interior design and everything beautiful. I love beautiful things.
And it sounds like a creative streak as well.
I love everything, beautiful gardens, and it gives me pleasure. It's very satisfying for me, so it makes me happy. And I had this opportunity to do something with my life, and I thought my life was almost taken from me. Yeah. So how am I going to turn this around? And I thought, do something you love, because you have to have a passion for the job that you're going to do for the rest of your life, because then it's just a job. It's not, this is my living.
How important is that aspect to you, the passion and the fun and actually enjoying what you do?
It's very important, because it's my living. It's what, how I pay my bills and how I feed my kids. Yeah. And, I'm planning on building an empire. I'm hoping that this brand will go worldwide. And
let's talk about that a bit, because you got your store here. Yeah. And you have the Rose Bay store that is soon, is it in a month?
Hopefully by end of September.
Right. Yep. And then will you be splitting your time between this location and that location?
Definitely.
That's a bit of a commute, isn't it? From Parramatta to Rose Bay.
I know, but
So that free time. We'll give you more time to daydream, I suppose. Hopefully not when you're driving.
No, it's a commitment I've decided to take on, and like I said, anything's possible. So what, I'm going to be driving or stuck in traffic for an hour. The people that live in the eastern suburbs won't come here, and the people that are here won't go there, so I've got to take it to them. Yeah. And hopefully by next year I'll have the third store in Melbourne. Yeah.
With the plan for building the empire, does that sort of come to you in dreams, similar to the fashion, or do you have a more step-by-step plan as to here, then there, then there?
I visualize everything. I actually write down. I believe in law of attraction. Yeah. And it works. It really does work. So it's I visualize it. I write down things. I make lists. I even have a note thing in my phone, and I make lists of things that I want to achieve, and I set goals. I always set goals for myself. Right. And every couple of months I go through it and I tick it off. Yeah. Okay, I've done that. Next. Yeah. So it's just, you just have to keep challenging yourself.
Yeah. I'm
an Aries.
And tell me about that, because I don't follow the star so much. So Aries, that's the bull, right?
Aries is the ram, we are, very stubborn and very, we can be aggressive and we can be abrupt, but we're very passionate, very loyal, and we're go-getters. Yeah. Natural born leaders, and I've always had that in me. I was a shy child, very shy, a very reserved kid.
Hard to picture that, but
very, very reserved when I was a kid. Right. But I've always had this passion brewing inside me since I was a kid. I wanted to be a model, and I wanted to be an actress, and I always had this thing, not so much to be famous, but just that's the industry I wanted to be in. Yeah. And I just loved all that glitz and sparkle, and so I thought, you know what, I'm too old to be modelling now, even though I still do it for my business, but Photoshop does wonders. But it's, I tried the acting and I did a lot of gigs for that and commercials and,
Was there a stint in Home and Away somewhere there?
Oh my God, years ago.
Home and Away has been around for a long time,
really young, when I was really young. I did.
You're not that old.
Oh, darling.
How you feel and the kind
yeah, it's true.
Because you own a business. That will age you faster than anything else.
My kids give it away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so look, it just sort of, everything just sort of plays out the way it's supposed to, and it's really strange when I look back at it. Like, the modelling, and I gave that a go, and I did the acting, and my parents from jewellery went back to fashion, and then it was literally thrown.
Yeah.
It was on my lap, like literally thrown on my lap, and it was like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do, and I just decided to do it.
It is so. And
I don't give up, so I will make this work.
I can see the determined look in your eyes. It does seem like I don't know if it's the Aries or the Armenian, but it does seem like a common trait that whatever they get, they'll do it, and they'll do it until it's done. Yeah. There's that streak of stubbornness.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing, because if you believe in yourself and you have the confidence in yourself, then anything is possible in this world. Anything.
Yeah.
And I do write my lists and I write my goals. I do it daily. Things I got to do.
Daily.
I do the things that I need to do on that day, and I do the checklist and go through it all. And I juggle work, kids, school, after school activities.
Yeah.
Everything, and I can do it. Everything's possible.
Yeah.
People, how do you do all this in one day? And I said to them, there's 24 hours in a day. Split that by 3, so you got 8 hours. You sleep for 8 hours, you work for 8 hours, and you got another 8 hours to play. What are you going to do for 8 hours?
Do you actually sleep 8 hours?
I don't sleep.
I was going to say, I bet you don't sleep 8 hours.
No, I don't sleep. But, if realistically, if you have the, divide it by 3, you've got 8 hours. And, we work basically 6 to 8 hours a day. And what are you going to do the next 8 hours? You can cook, clean the house, do the chores, take the kids to their lessons, do your sporting activities. Or
follow your passions.
Hobbies and whatever. So there is time.
Yeah.
There's plenty of time in a day.
I think if you really love what you do, you make the time.
Of course you do.
What about when someone comes in the store? What's the experience like for them? So they come into the Panther's den, and let's say there's a girl. I mean, it's mainly girls. I know you do some men's fashion as well, but the girls want to come in. And is it mainly for weddings? I know it's like formals and school. Is it school formal season coming up soon? So what's the process that you take them through to make sure that it's something that not only looks good, but they feel
good? Well, I mean, they walk in and they obviously have come in here for a reason, because it's evening gowns. It's not, so we sort of ask them questions and find out what the event is and where they're going to go, season, if it's in Australia, if it's overseas, is it going to be hot, cold, everything. We ask a lot of questions, religion, cultural, traditions and stuff like that.
So you really find out a lot about them.
Yeah.
Right.
I really like to get into their heads and find out exactly what they want and what they need and what it's for. A lot of the customers, attending weddings, some people buying a dress for a wedding that they're going to, and it's a Muslim wedding. So they want to get my idea of what is, suitable for that event and such, things like that. We've got people that come in here for formals and the logies.
Yeah.
So TV events.
Is there a particular look on a girl's face or on a client's face when you find the perfect dress for them? Is there a particular feeling? Do you know when you've got it right?
Yeah. You can see it in their eyes.
Yeah.
When they look and feel comfortable and confident.
Yeah.
You can I think it's body language.
Yeah.
I've sort of mastered that one in this industry. Being in retail practically my whole adult life, I sort of can understand people and their body language and their facial expressions.
Yeah.
And, everything just sort of, as soon as they walk out of the change room,
you can tell.
I can say, nah, go back in.
Yeah. Go back in.
Come out and give me a credit card.
Yeah.
Because you're buying it. because it's just perfect for you.
Yeah. If people want to get in touch with you or they want to come into the store, what's the best way of getting in touch with you, your contact details?
The website. So they can go straight to the website, so lenakasparian.com. And
I'll put that underneath.
Yeah. The store email address, which is info@lenakasparian.com, and the phone number's there as well. So,
sure.
Yeah.
And when they come in, just in terms of what services you offer, I was just having a look at the website, you'll help them pick a dress. There were also some things to do, I think, with like sort of wardrobe clean-outs or wardrobe assessments.
Yes,
so what are those other services?
Styling services as well. Yeah. You can host a party at your place if you like, and we can bring some nice dresses. It's like, back in the day when they used to do Tupperware parties.
I was going to say, it sounds like a very fancy Tupperware. Yeah. Very fancy Tupperware party.
And we offer styling packages as well.
Right.
So they can come in here and we can give them a whole wardrobe makeover, and we can go to their house and throw out everything that we think should be gone. But yeah.
Might be a lot. Do you do that for men as well, or is it just for the women? I don't think I'll let you anywhere near my wardrobe.
Yeah.
Let's move towards a wrap up. I finished my interview with the same 10 questions.
Okay.
So, and whatever comes into your head.
All right.
Whatever comes into your head. So, what is your favourite word?
Darling.
What is your least favourite word?
I can't say it. I use it a lot though. It's really bad, but...
Are you sure you don't like it? You just don't like saying it?
I shouldn't be saying it.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say it right now. It's not ladylike.
Okay. All right.
Let's move on.
Being ladylike is important. What sound or noise do you love?
I love my son's laughter. Absolutely love his laughter.
Which we've heard a little bit of in the background.
Yeah, he's on the computer in the back, but yeah.
What sound or noise do you hate?
When they scream and drive me nuts.
Which we've also had a little bit of.
Yeah.
We'll cut it out from the edit. What about what turns you on spiritually, creatively?
Oh my gosh. When I achieve my goals, whatever they may be.
So even...
Success turns me on.
Success turns you on. Nice. What about what turns you off?
When I fail and I have to take that couple of steps back, but then I just push myself forward again.
So you don't let it define you?
No, never.
Nice. If you had a dinner party and you could invite any 3 guests, living or otherwise, who would you invite?
Damn, I wish I was prepared for these questions.
That's what the beauty of it is, that you have an impromptu response.
Number 1 guest will be Coco Chanel, because
right.
I'm absolutely fascinated by that woman. Grace Kelly.
Right.
And we need a male there. Jesus. I would love to learn more and meet him in person.
I was holding out for Tom Cruise. I think Jesus is a much more interesting. Jesus is a much more interesting pick.
Jesus, definitely.
What about what profession, other than your own, would you most like to attempt? I mean, you've had a few.
I've attempted acting, and I absolutely love acting. If I wasn't going to do the fashion, I would have probably tried to pursue that.
Right.
Which I have a lot of friends in the industry, and I know it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's very competitive as well. If that didn't work, I love cooking. So restaurant.
Wow.
Definitely.
What about what profession other than your own would you not like to attempt?
Being a nurse.
It's 2 in a row. The last interview also said.
Yeah.
Being a nurse, they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to. Doctor, nurse, that's just depressing for me.
Yeah. Last question. If God exists, what would you like to hear him or her say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I'm proud of you.
That's a nice answer.
Yeah.
Well, Lena, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you
if
for
you're
having
hearing
me.
a little warbling in the background, that's Lena's kids. And we have to let them out before they burst through the door. So thank you so much for your time, and best of luck with all your business.
Thank you very much.
Endeavours.
Maybe I should get you to try on some suits now and sell you something.
I'm itching.
We'll get you to try.
There's one suit, and I don't think I can try on the dresses. But look, if you can make it out to Parramatta or to Rose Bay, do you have an official opening
Not yet,
date for
but
Rose
it
Bay?
will be on the website.
In the next month.
Yep.
Right, definitely come on down to... Will that also be the Panthers Den? Or will this be the
This
Panthers
is the
Den?
Panthers
And that
Den.
would be like
My
the
office is
Cougars
here.
Den or...
That's just a boutique.
Right.
This is the of the business. But yeah, my office is at the back here.
Well, definitely come on down, and Lena might be able to do something about your wardrobe. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And we'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you. Bye.